CRO-AM Connections, connecting with Croatian-Americans through conversation and events to share our culture. Today on our show, we have Robert Jerin, a Croatian-American genealogist who's helped countless families trace their roots and reconnect with their heritage. He's from Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you all for joining us today. Dobro nam došli. Today, I'm excited to welcome Robert Jerin, a Croatian-American genealogist who's helped countless families trace their roots and reconnect with their heritage. Robert has organized numerous heritage tours over the years, helping Croatian-Americans find their ancestral villages and have connected many with their long-lost relatives. Robert is coming to us today from Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here this evening. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. This has been exciting. I think I've been trying to talk to you for like 6 months, and you had some, we had some timing issues, but really glad we could connect tonight. And I usually have a story about how we met. This is the first time we're meeting. We talked a little bit on the phone, but during that phone call conversation, you were telling me that your wife was in Zuperchani and that you were at Strassmeyer back in May. And so we were actually there filming the interview with Strassmeyer folks. And so we were probably passing each other all day long, didn't know it. And so
maybe that happened more than once.
Probably, because you've been around. But again, great to have you tonight on the show, and looking forward to the conversation. So we have 3 parts to our podcast. First is your family history, Croatian roots, as much as you want to share. And then the second part, we're going to get into your genealogy and how you got started there and your huge following, 34,000, and your Croatian Heritage and Genealogy Facebook page, which is impressive. Congrats on that. And then the last part is what's in the future, what's on the horizon with you and some of the heritage tours possibly in the coming year. So let's dive into your family heritage, Croatian roots. Tell us a little about your family.
Well, I'm half Croatian,
Huh?
And that's on my mother's side. My grandfather, well, actually, my great-grandparents arrived in 1894,
Oh, wow.
settled in Cambria County, a little town called Frugality.
Huh.
And interestingly, the next town was Glasgow, so I figured there was a Scottish population there. And then my grandfather arrived in 1905 and settled in the same little town. And, they lived their lives and died within probably 20 miles of Frugality.
Oh, wow.
And actually, I'm closer to that side than my father's side. I probably know more about that side. I grew up with them, learned some of the words.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes maybe not so good, but
Yeah.
you know how that goes. And
So did they speak it in the house? And
yes,
okay.
my mother taught me some. My grandparents spoke it, and her eldest siblings were I'd say very fluent in the language.
Okay.
So over the years, I picked that up.
Yeah.
My mother enrolled me in the Croatian Fraternal Union when I was about 6 months old.
Oh, wow.
So I guess I had no choice.
Yeah. You didn't. There was no opting out.
Right. So from that point, I mean, I knew that I was Croatian all of those years, and the Zajedničar was something that came in the mail, and usually I glanced at it, and it ended up not being read because I wasn't interested in bowling and the other activities they had. But my interest began to peak in the 80s when my mother was looking for my grandfather's birth record. So knowing that it was part of Austria-Hungary, she sent to Hungary for it, and they said, "Madam, you'll need to contact the Socialist Republic of Croatia." And unbeknownst to me, that there's a relatively good-sized population of nationalist Croatians in Cleveland.
Yeah, it's
And
good size up there.
yeah, so when I went down to we had a Yugoslav consulate, and when I went there, I was in awe that there was little peephole in the door with the Yugoslav coat of arms. And as I was asking, there were men standing around in suits smoking their cigarettes, I think keeping their eye on me because they didn't know who I was. And so we got a transcribed copy of my grandfather's birth record, and I thought, wow, 1885, that's something. Nowadays, I'd say 1885, that's nothing. We need to go back farther.
Yeah.
Actually, it was 1889. And from that point, I began to develop an interest. Then the Homeland War came, and I was a bit confused about what was going on, why it was going on. And I began to read articles in the CFU Zajedničar, and then talking to my new Croatian friends in Cleveland, I learned quite a bit about the situation. And with that, I began packing containers and writing letters to politicians and demonstrating to stop the war, and I guess in favor of Croatian independence. 97, we took 104 junior Tamburitsans to Croatia. And I don't know what to say, but I would never take 104 people again. But saw a good bit of the country, saw where my family was from, and subsequently visited them, visited my cousin's kind of a recluse. In fact, I saw him for the first time in probably 20 years, and they're in a village that he and his wife are the only people who live there anymore.
Now, that village, was that Ozal?
It's a little village outside of Ozal called Viniver.
Okay.
It's just about 5 or 6 miles from Ozal, and pretty much everyone's vacated the village, although my cousin's wife said that a family is moving back from Germany, so she was all excited. But it's interesting that she's taken it upon herself to cut the grass around every home in that village. It takes her about 12 hours, 2 6-hour shifts to do that. So there's a bit of I don't know what to say about it, but anyway. So from there, I developed an interest in finding out more, and I joined Ancestry and found out that I could kind of get people oriented, because here's the typical scenario. Oh, my grandfather was from Zagreb, Yugoslavia. Until probably World War II, World War I, there weren't many people leaving the big cities because they were prosperous, they had jobs. And it was the people from the small villages where they had tiny homes and large families, and there was barely enough to sustain everybody. And since that time, I've had I was going to count them tonight, but I probably have somewhere over 1,000 names in my files that I've helped people do research for, including your family.
I know we were exchanging some. You were giving me some information. I appreciate that.
You thought you were the only Kayachi in America, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. At one point. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, do you still connect with a lot of family back home that you've met, or?
No, my cousin, like I mentioned, it's the first time in 20 years that I've seen him.
Yeah.
And he's the personality that he is, although his wife she relishes talking to people. We talked for a couple of hours in my meager Croatian.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she understood any English, but we communicated back and forth. I had my guide with me that we befriended. Oh gosh, it's 20 years now.
Okay.
And so to answer that, no, I really don't keep in touch. I know who they are. I know where they're from. But the exciting, and this may sound a little bit corny, but I've been to most places in Croatia, or a good many of them. And the real excitement is to find somebody who has a little bit of knowledge and maybe some misinformation, and dig in. And in fact, I was just looking up a family tonight. The lady's been there. She didn't find her family, so now she's coming back a second time, and we're going to work harder on trying to find that branch of her family. So
Nice.
that's really the exciting part of it for me. I like to go to Croatia. I like to see the different places. I enjoy the villages, especially the out of the way villages. The seacoast is nice, but there's a lot inside the country that people miss.
Yeah.
So, and I do anywhere from 1 to 3 tours a year, and my primary goal is to help them connect with families. And there are some people that don't care to connect with families.
Interesting.
Yeah, which kind of puzzles me. But
Right.
we've had people that go to villages. We find people with the same surname, but there are gaps in the record, so we can't connect them. But I've got to tell you, the hospitality of people of the people in the village. I mean, baking cakes and bringing out their best kibasica and their best rakia, and treating the people like their long lost family, even though there's no proof of any connection with them.
Yeah. Yeah. So you weren't trained in genealogy. You just had this
No.
passion, it sounds like, right? That you started.
I went to college for a couple of years, studied history. That's always been a
There you go.
passion of
Yeah.
mine, and it's a perfect fit for this.
Yeah.
Because I've got some notion of the history and the life in the country. It's amazing how many people in America think of a farm with maybe 100 or more acres, not understanding that they came from a tiny village and had a small plot of land that they worked. And so it's an eye opener for a lot of people.
Yeah. So your first trip, I know you mentioned the 97, 99, but your actual first heritage tour, I think, was in 2005, right? Is that correct?
2005, we went in 97, and then 99, my wife and I went back, and then again in 2005. And it's interesting because 97, we found my grandfather's village, met my cousin and his wife, found my grandparents' Pennsylvania marriage wedding picture in the old house. And then when we went in 2005, my friend in Karlovac called my cousin, and he said, "Oh, I don't have any cousins in America." So I sent him a photograph of Marian and his wife. And when he called the second time, the wife answered, and she said something like, "Oh, please have those people visit." So it's interesting to see. And I see villages over there, and really anywhere in the world. The small villages are kind of emptying out. The young people want to move on to bigger and better things, and that. But I believe there's a draw as people get older back to the home. And I've met people in Croatia that moved from Canada or the UK, and they're retired or near retirement, and they go back home and enjoy life.
Well, I've seen not only U.S. or Canada, I think Australia. You've worked with some folks from Australia, is that correct?
Right. We had a couple from Australia, and I've worked with a good many Australians. In fact, my Facebook group, Australia probably ranks as the third or fourth largest group. First, it's the U.S., Canada, a good contingent from Croatia. And it's interesting when, we start presenting names with ICH at the end, and these staunch nationalists say, "Oh, there's never an H at the end." But
right.
Surprisingly, before the current Croatian alphabet was invented, if you look at the church books, you'll see ICHs all over the place.
Really?
Yeah, because the priests were writing in Latin or something, the diacritics just didn't exist.
I'm still going to be proud of my IC, no H.
There you go. Okay. And you're entitled to it.
I appreciate that. Hey, so you've wrote a handbook
Yes,
called "Searching for Your Croatian Roots." So,
right.
I mean, that was probably part of your evolution in genealogy, I would assume, right?
Yeah, so part of it was as I'd encounter people on Ancestry in the old Gen Forum, having been to Croatia a couple times already, I'd always end the conversation with, "Now you know where they're from, and you need to visit Stari Kraj. You need to visit the old country."
Uh,
And I started to do seminars, and people said, "Well, can you videotape that?" Well, no, I don't do any videoing, but having done seminars professionally, uh, I put together notes, and that developed into a more extensive handbook, and now there are several addendums to it. So, um, it's very useful for people if they study it and they learn certain words. They can go to the church records and find the family, and so there are probably, oh, I would guess about 1,000 of those in print form, and now I only do
hmm.
it on PDF form. I'm done with going to Kinko's
Yeah,
or
print
wherever and
shop.
having
Yeah,
it printed.
just send it to them electronically. Oh, that's pretty neat. But you've talked about lecturing. You've lectured nationally and internationally, and you've done that in Croatia as well, right?
That's correct. So every tour, the tours of late have included 7 days on the Adriatic. So we'll take part of one day, and I'll hold at least one session with anybody that's interested. And then a couple of times I've been invited by the state archives, by the Croatian Genealogy Society in Zagreb, to
Hmm.
speak to them. And they're really interested in more the American side than the Croatian side. They know about their families and that, but
Yeah.
learning about how life was in America for people is interesting to them.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. So you have been everywhere we go. I hear Robert Jerin. I mean, you've been around a bit and involved in. I know you said early on you weren't really interested, but ever since you got engaged, I'm just going to rattle off some of the titles you currently hold or have held, which is really impressive. And then we can talk about them as you want. You've been president of the Croatian Heritage Museum, president of the Cleveland Junior Tamburitzin, CFU trustee, CFU board member, Junior Cultural Federation, CFU 995 Lodge, which is President Carlos Stepinac, Croatian Voice of Cleveland during the war. You've been honorary lifetime member of the Croatian Genealogy Society of Zagreb, received recognition from the Croatian Tourist Board, and I'm sure there's more that I missed, but yeah, you've been fully engaged in the Croatian community for some time and continue to be. So that's I was with Ed Pezo, I don't know, at an event many months ago, and we were laughing about how you get sucked in and then you try to get out and they keep sucking you back in. Is that your experience, or did you just like roll in from one to another, or how do you
Um,
get all these
well,
engagements?
each one of those has been a learning experience, um, sometimes a teaching experience.
Uh-huh.
But each one of those, I've learned a bit more about people and about areas in Croatia and about the how can I put this, the Croatian mentality.
Yeah.
Um, and where there's smoke, there's fire sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's been really. Uh, I'll never forget the first time I was voted as president of Lodge 995, which was founded by post World War II immigrants.
Oh,
And when they nominated me, I said, I really don't. I'm not fluent in the language. And the comment back was, "Oh, don't worry, we'll help you." So, and to this day, I'm still president of that lodge. Cleveland area has been blessed or whatever you want to call it. We had immigrants in the 1800s, many of them
mhm.
from Jumbarak, um, and then up through the beginning of World War I, and then post World War I, post World War II, and then just after the Homeland War, we had a group we had groups of people coming here, many of them from Bosnia. And it's interesting to see the differences in the Bosnian Croats and the Croats from Croatia.
Yeah.
So, and those are all members of our lodge.
Yeah.
And well, it's interesting when you see the preferences of music and dance style from the older groups to the newer groups.
Yeah.
So,
And did you grow up dancing, playing tambura? Did you do any of that, or?
oh goodness, no! I'm the Van
No.
Gogh of music. I have no ear, and I have 2 left feet. No, I enjoy it. My wife is the one with the talent. She's
Okay.
has no Croatian in her except by association,
Okay.
and her pronunciation is very good. Some of the older Croatians asked her where she was from in Croatia or where her family was from, but she's a good musician or good singer. My daughter plays brach. My daughter-in-law and 2 grandchildren also perform in the well, they're in Jumrachani, they're in Cleveland Juniors, and the oldest granddaughter just she's going to school in Columbus, and she's part of the cello group down there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
Is that a newer group, or that they've been around cello?
that was an offshoot of what are their names? Obenauer. There were 2 ladies that started Christmas in Croatia, and that group down there was an offshoot of their work down there. There's a population of Croatian-Americans there, not nearly as big as Cleveland, and it's interesting that with some research I found that many of them came from the island of Brač that settled in Columbus. But I don't know how old that group is. Certainly not as old as the groups in Cleveland. Groups in Cleveland date back probably 50 or 60 years, many of them.
Are you you're president of the current lodge still, or?
Yes, I'm president of Lodge 995.
995.
And other than that, I have no official title. And that's kind of nice to not have an official position, but just one that you can do some freelance. And in fact, just before you called, I was doing some research on a family, and or I should say just before a conversation here, and I'll go back to that when we're finished.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that because, there are very few constraints other than those put on me by my wife. And it's an enjoyable position because I've learned so much from people. I can share that and do some good for people. We've had people that we had a lady that was several years ago. She's passed away now, but her father's side was Hungarian and her mother's side was Croatian from Prigorje. And she learned the Hungarian language. She knew about the history of Hungary. In fact, I joined the Hungarian Genealogy Society. I tell them to keep them honest about history. So when we went on, she was on a couple of trips with us, and one of the trips we surprised her by going to Prigorje. And as we drove into the village, she said, "Oh, I have an address from 20 years ago from a cousin." So we saw a lady cutting grapes, and I understood just enough Croatian that after the lady unfurled her wrinkles in her brow, she said that she remembered her mother because she married that Hungarian guy. And surprisingly, she became closer to her Croatian side than the Hungarian side.
Interesting.
So, and that's the nice part of everything.
Yeah.
But the only official title I have now is president of Lodge 995.
You've served your time. You've done a lot. So I understand that. I am jealous of your 34,000 almost followers on Facebook, Robert. Was that like an explosion or over time, or like you have a huge following for
I can tell you how that started. There was a group, a Croatian genealogy group, and I don't know much about the man, but I was very happy to get in there and start answering questions. And I'd post it, the fact that I was part of the Croatian Heritage Museum. And one day I couldn't find the group. And my wife said, well, I see the group, but you're not a member. So when I contacted the gentleman, he said, well, you're pompous and arrogant.
You got
And I thought,
blocked.
okay, well, and then, but from that, my wife said, you know what, don't put up with that. Start your own group. So
There you go.
it's about 10 or 11 years ago now. One morning in, I think it was January, we started, had a few hundred people, and now we get people from all over. And, some people, um, we have certain guidelines on the forum, no
Yeah.
politics, although we'll post articles about news, and, no ethnocentricity, you know, no slamming people for religion. And some people don't understand that. And my reply to them is start your own group.
Yeah.
Um, so we manage that pretty well. I've got my wife and middle daughter are admins, and then I have an admin in Florida and a transplant from Australia in Opatia. So
Right.
we try to keep those guidelines and allow some freedom, but when it gets rough, then
Yeah.
the post is gone and maybe the person.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's congrats on that. It's a huge following, and you should be proud of that as well. So do you work with other genealogists in like Croatia or in the US to
Uh, yes, there are two. Well, one lady's moved to Slovenia, and there's one in Zagreb who's a secondary school teacher, and then there's a man who's retired. I believe he worked in Switzerland, and he's retired back to Croatia. And all three of those are excellent. And there's a young woman from Bosnia that's come up lately, and she's helping people with that. So, with what's on the internet at Family Search, plus I've
Mhm.
got thousands of transcribed files from parishes in Croatia, we can usually help people with their family history.
Interesting. So how if let's talk about how people engage with you. Do they just if they don't find you on Facebook, how do they learn about you and what's the process for them to reach out and then go through this to find their family history?
Well, okay, so Facebook is a good place. There are a couple of Croatian groups that I participate in and people find out.
Hmm.
Also, I do seminars. I haven't done one in Pittsburgh for a while. I'm doing one in Detroit, I believe, in January or February. And from there, people find out that, help is available, possible help is available. But other than that, I don't, I mean, I don't know how to answer that in a way because all of my contact is through Croatian-oriented groups.
Okay.
And then word goes, I'm working with a man now from Australia, and it's going to be tough. Although I've already found some information about his great grandmother in U.S. records that he didn't have. Um, so, the books have been sent to Australia. They've been sent to um, some copies to Croatia, pretty much Canada, U.S. So it's mostly just word of mouth now.
Mm. You know what we need to start, or you need to start. Maybe we can collaborate. Finding your roots. Henry Louis Gates does Finding Your
Oh
Roots on
yes,
PBS.
yes, yes.
There you go. We should do a
Yeah.
Finding Your Roots podcast. Let's get some people on and do a Finding Your Roots. You can unravel their history for them.
Yeah,
Love it.
interestingly enough, I watched those, and there was a woman in California. Um, I can't think of her last name, but she's she has Croatian roots, and she thought of this idea of running a program, something like that,
Uh-huh.
where we would find people, and then we would interview people there and interview people here, and well, the idea kind of got taken over by some people. But Gates is interesting because those are mostly famous people.
Yeah.
And they're sometimes shocked and surprised. I think one of those was, I don't know if Lydia Bastianich was on that.
I think she was, yeah.
And it's interesting because she well knows that she has Croatian roots. I think her DNA is somewhere around 50% Croatian.
Yeah.
But
yeah, even though she has an Italian cooking show, that's kind of a rub.
Well, yeah, and I understand that because, Lydia's Croatia might not be as popular as Lydia's Italy.
Yeah, I know, but my wife had the pleasure of attending probably at least 10 or so years ago. She was over at the U.S. at the embassy over in Zagreb, and Lydia was the chef for the event, and so
Okay.
she got to participate, and that was kind of cool.
It's
So
interesting.
I know she knows how to cook Croatian food then. So
Well, it's interesting. The restaurant, I don't know if it's in Pittsburgh anymore, but there was she had a restaurant there, and we walked in, and I said something to the hostess or host that Lydia was Croatian, and they said, no, she's Italian. I said, look at this. I said, sarma? That's a Croatian dish. She said, well, we have a Yugoslav that works here. Let me ask him. So
yeah, I don't know if that one's still open or not, but that's a good one. So you said you're still doing heritage tours, I think 1 to 3 tours a year. That's a lot. How do you
right.
keep up with that, and what's happening in 2026?
Well, we're doing a late spring, early summer tour. I don't like to go there in July or August. It's just too hot and too crowded. Yeah. So this coming year, we're doing one beginning at the end of May.
Okay.
And then we're doing another one at the end of August into September. And it will include, it seems like good many of the people that I have on my trips have roots in northern Croatia.
Okay.
Occasionally I'll find somebody from Slavonia or somebody from the Dalmatian coast. In fact, I'm just working with a man that he joined the trip next year, August, September. And he said, well, he's found this and he's found that, but he can't find his illegitimate grandfather. And I got to thinking, okay, well, let's see. Let me spell this like an Italian would. And sure enough, there he was, the correct birth date. And it's interesting because he was baptized within the walls of the old city. I've had a couple of people like that their grandparents were from at least baptized in the old town.
That's pretty cool.
And from that, with my connections over there, a lot of times I can extend their family reach. I have a friend in near Savtat that retired from California. And so far, we've had 2 people that he's found somewhere in his family tree that have been with us.
Wow.
And he's done extensive work in that area. There are some, and I forgot about him because he's not I wouldn't say that he's well, you know what? He's a genealogist. He had a website that I collaborated with years ago called Croatia in English. And his experience was in Konavle and the Dubrovnik area. So he's done quite a bit. He's put an exhibit together at the museum in Chilipi of all of the fruit growers from California that had roots in that part of Croatia. So it's fun to see the ties. It's fun to see the people. It's almost like villages moved together.
Yeah, we see that in the limited amount of interviews we've done. It's like pockets. Like Kokeberg is a pocket, and they come around the same region, right? Rankin around the same region, like that Olzel area. So it's interesting to see these villages, like you said, move to certain areas of the country, right?
I just wonder how Reverend Kayach ended up in Johnstown with all of those people.
We're going to work on that together because I'm very curious about that. Seriously.
Well, I'm still trying to find his original ship manifest. I'm sure it's there. It's either been mistranscribed or it's illegible or damaged, but I think I did mention to you that I found one of his voyages back as a citizen, as a U.S.
you
citizen.
did. Yeah. That was interesting. Yeah. You had some quick information too. You're right on it.
Oh, I can't resist it. I go someplace and I start asking people, about their roots, and I can't help it. I'm sorry.
No, it was good. You were impressive. I was like, oh my God. I was telling my wife Heather, I was like, he's sending me all this stuff and it's great stuff. But we're gonna have to connect back on that to continue that conversation.
Yeah, I just wonder if he's from the same village as your family.
He might be.
Same area.
He might be. I mean, the Kayaches, there was a whole village that we had. So it wasn't a big village, but it was a whole village of Kayaches. So, but there's a lot of Kayaches. I mean, it's a common name, and it can go back a couple different ways, I guess. But so is there a retirement in Robert's future, or you're just going to keep doing these tours, succession plan in the works? What's
well, from my my vocation, I'm retired. About 8 years now, and this occupies my time. Puts a little bit of spending money in the kitty here.
Yeah,
and I enjoy this, and as long as I can do it, I've a couple of my children I've tried to get involved. I think they like to go with me on trips, but I'm not sure that they're too interested in the legwork.
Oh, we'll have to convince them. Your legacy.
Maybe years and maturity will take care of that.
Yeah, there you go.
My youngest daughter, when I approached her, she said, "Well, I'd like to do a beer tour of Croatia." Okay.
Well, it's a start. It's a start, right?
Yeah, you'd get people from 21 to 30 probably.
It's a start. Yeah. So I really appreciate you taking time to sit down and chat with us. You got a great history, and you've done so much with the CFU and beyond the CFU, helping folks out with finding their roots. You should be proud of everything you've accomplished to date, and I'm sure you're going to keep doing more in the future. It's a great achievement.
I appreciate the kind words, you mentioning the CFU. Next to my family, if it wasn't for the Croatian Fraternal Union, I wouldn't know a lot. But they've been a great resource over the years.
Yeah, I mean 132, I think now, right? Is it 132 or 31?
Yes.
I mean, I think it's one of the longest standing organizations, ethnic cultural organizations. That's also a true business. I mean, it's an impressive organization and how they manage it in many ways.
Sure. Yeah, anybody that's been to the home office, when I do seminars there, the second thing we do after introductions is take them through the museum.
Yeah.
And they're in awe of what's there, because they've collected so much that's hidden from the public, hidden from the general public.
Yeah.
That they're amazed by that.
Yeah. Well, again, I want to thank you, Robert, and I'm sure we're going to actually see each other live somewhere. We're just crossing paths,
okay,
here and there, but I'm sure we'll see each other live. When I'll if you drink a beer, I'll buy you a beer or a Schlevo, one of the two. We'll get you.
Okay,
we'll get you something to drink. All right.
Well, we'll do that.
Okay, appreciate that. So I'm going to wrap up another episode. So we want to just say thank you. Want to follow to all of our CRO-AM followers for tuning in, and the Filthy 46 Productions for their editing and production expertise. So until next time, Živeli Hrvati, veliki poz I Bog. If you have appreciated this interview or past interviews, or if you know of someone that we should interview, please feel free to reach out to us via email at info@CRO-AM Connections.com. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, and other podcast platforms, along with watching us on our YouTube channel or following us on Facebook and Instagram at CRO-AM Connections. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, please support all local and non-local Croatian-American events wherever they are. Thanks and appreciation to Robert Jerin for being our guest, Filthy 46 Productions, and as always, our CRO-AM followers.
Follow.